Part of the American dream is the idea that we will retire in old age and enjoy our final decades as we see fit after a lifetime of hard work. If you want to become big and strong, you must work out consistently over time. Similarly, if you want to have strong financials for retirement, you must also save consistently over time. What starts as a small weight or small savings over the years can become true strength, financial or otherwise, as the effort or interest compounds. By starting as soon as possible and putting in the work early and often, while taking full advantage of all tax and employee benefits, we can ensure that even when we stop working, we will always remain in the black.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike, and we're here today with another episode of In the Black. Today, we're going to talk about the dreaded R word. That's right, retirement. And what does that mean for most people? Retirement is something that we all look forward to, for most of us, sooner rather than later, when we're able to retire from work, kick our feet up, and enjoy the rest of our lives. This should be a very monumentous celebratory event for most, but also a sense of fear and pain for others, worrying whether they'll have enough money to retire or whether retirement actually lasts them long enough to live out the duration of their lives in comfort. Here today, we're going to talk about two important investment vehicles that will allow you to retire, and that is very important for you to get started with immediately if you have not started yet. And those two investment vehicles are IRAs and 401ks. So let's hop right to it. So IRAs are individual retirement accounts that allow you to take advantage of some pretty cool tax savings that will help you grow your nest egg into the future. It is a very important investment vehicle that everyone should have in their toolkit. If you really want to retire and retire well, then you need to be putting in money into an IRA or a 401k right now. Now, for IRAs, the money you put in, you can't withdraw without penalty until you're 59 and a half years old. Seems like a long time, but it's good because it kind of forces you to let your money sit there and grow. Like we're talking about with that snowball effect, your money gains momentum over time. So it's important that you kind of let it sit there, and the way the IRA is structured, it kind of penalizes you if you don't leave it there to grow. Now, IRAs are, you're allowed by IRS to put $6,000 into an IRA. The great thing about that $6,000 that you can put into an IRA annually is that it is tax-free. What does that mean? Let's put it into an example. If you had $100,000 that you made in a given year, and you decide to put in $6,000, which is the limit, into an IRA account, what that means is your taxable net income for the year is now $94,000 instead of $100,000. That means you're going to be taxed at $94,000 of income is going to be taxed versus that $100, because the IRA allows you to put that money in tax-free for right now. And what it does is it allows that money each year you can put in that $6,000, that $6,000, that $6,000 tax-free. And as it grows over time, when you eventually get ready to pull it out, when you are ready to retire at over 59 and a half years old, you'll then be taxed on it. The idea is you can put in more money now and let it be taxed, not taxed, and let it grow so it can grow at a faster rate, and then you can pull it out and you only pay income tax on the amount that you pull out for that given year. So let's say you reach the age of 60, you're ready to start retiring, your nest egg has grown quite a lot, and when you go to pull out, you're only getting taxed at the money you're pulling out, right? So you're not going to be taxed on the whole thing, lump sum at once. You're only taxed at the money you pulled out, and that money you pulled out is now treated as taxable income. So that's a great thing because it really allows people to get a head start on trying to build that snowball like we talk about, to really let your money start working for you. An IRA is an awesome investment tool that everybody should be taking advantage of. IRAs are widely available through a lot of brokerage, same places you can usually get a brokerage account from. You can generally get an IRA. You can even get them at your bank. It's a very cool investment tool. And another cool thing about IRAs is that you can pretty much pick whatever you want. You can pick individual stocks, you can pick index funds, mutual funds like we talked about in our previous videos. And it really allows you to take control of how you want to structure that investment. and how you want to tailor it, whether you're going to be really risky with it up front. In early years, it'd be more conservative for bonds and things like that nature in later years, but it really gives you a lot of freedom to do a lot of cool things with it. I personally use IRA to really help bolster my retirement account. I have an aggressive goal that I do want to retire early, and using an IRA is a big part of that. Next, let's talk about 401ks. Now, 401ks are very similar to IRAs, but with a little difference. 401ks are actually employer-sponsored retirement accounts. That means that your employer is going to sponsor this retirement account. And it allows a couple of things. It allows you to put in more money into it. So how I mentioned that $6,000 was the yearly cap for an IRA. For 2020, the yearly cap for a 401k is $19,500. So that's a pretty big difference. Another big difference is because it's an employer-sponsored retirement account, the employer can actually put in money into that account. What that means is certain employers, the way they'll have that compensation package structured, they'll put in money into your account. The federal government does this as well. They'll do a lot of times it's a dollar for dollar match. Maybe it's 50 cents on the dollar. Maybe they give you a specified amount. Sometimes the amount that the employer is going to put in is immediately vested. Sometimes it's vested over a number of years, which means if you leave early, you don't realize all the money that they put in to that 401k account. But it allows your employer to also compensate you towards your retirement, which is a very, very big thing and a very good thing when you're not, you're analyzing and you're comparing two offers from two different employers. You always don't look at just the bottom line of how much money is company A paying me versus company B. You have to look at a total compensation package, which includes benefits, but also importantly, includes retirement. So with this 401k, it really allows you to grow that nest egg a lot faster because of the higher amounts you can put in. But one of the negative drawbacks of 401k, at least in my opinion, is that you're very limited into what you can invest your money into. There usually comes with a set amount of predefined funds that you're allowed to invest in. Sometimes they're like target funds, which means it targets a certain year of your retirement. So if you imagine yourself retiring in 30 years, you might be in the 2050 target fund, and it will tailor its investments more riskier now and less riskier over time to try to accomplish that goal for you. That's good for a lot of people who don't want to get into the ins and outs of picking individual stocks or picking individual mutual funds or index funds or things like that. It's really good for those people, but for people like me, I like kind of getting into the weeds of those things, and it's not my favorite, but I love the employer sponsored match that I currently get, and it's something that you really should take advantage of. Also, on the side note, that let's say you're with a company and you decide to leave and go to another company, well, you can take that 401k with you. It doesn't stay with your employer. It comes with you. What's going to happen is you're no longer be able to contribute into that 401k. And you can do a couple things. You can either just sit there and let that money grow. All right, you can just let it grow over time. Don't touch it. You can change what funds it goes to allocate to, but you just let it sit there. Or you can hear what a lot of people talk about is rolling it over. Now, me personally, every time I leave a company, I take my 401k and I roll over into my IRA. What that does is a couple of things. It allows me to consolidate where all my money is. I don't like having it in too many places, especially if my employer had a 401k with a company I'm not a big fan of. It allows me to put my money with a company that I am a fan of, where I currently have my money, and it's all together, so it's easier for me to keep track of it. Another good thing is once you roll that money into an IRA, you can now invest with it like you would a traditional IRA. That means you can pick your individual stocks and index funds. Anything that's on the market is totally fair game for you. So these are some very, very powerful wealth building investment accounts that can really change your life. Unfortunately, right now, there's a lot of people who are not invested in these, who may have a 401k with their employer, not taking advantage of it. People might even have a 401k with their employer who will give not only a dollar for dollar match, it might just give you money flat out, and you're not taking it. You're literally walking away from free money. It's like somebody saying, we're going to give you $1,000 towards your retirement every year, and you're saying, no, that's okay, I don't want it, right? So that's not the smart thing to do. You need to make sure that we take advantage of it. And even if your job does not offer 401k. You can open up an IRA for yourself. So these are very, very, very important. I can't stress how important these are, because without these investment vehicles, you're going to find it really, really hard to retire in the future. Nowadays, companies don't give out pensions like they used to, where you could say, hey, if I work for a company so-and-so, and in 30 years or 40 years, I can retire and have a pension. I'm guaranteed this money for the rest of my life. That's not the case anymore. I know for me, I have yet to work for a company that offers pensions for new and incoming employees. There's always a 401k or hey, if they offer that, and it makes it really, the onus is on you to really save up for your own retirement. So it's really important that you pay attention to this stuff. You need to go to your employer, find out if they do have a 401k and if you're in it or not. And if you're not in it, you make sure you get into it. And you need to look at how much you have you're contributing to it. You know, idealistically, you can sit down and try to do the math, and it's hard to plot out exactly how many years you're going to live, but you use your best estimation to figure out how much money you're going to need in retirement. And here's a hint, it's generally way more than you actually think it's going to be. So you have to really sit down and get, crunch the numbers now, because the worst thing to do is to sit back and wait too long and then try to, you wake up and you're 50 and you're like, oh crap, I'm trying to retire in the next 10 to 15 years, and you're not able to. Another cool thing about both of these, the 401k and the IRA, is that you can actually, they call it a catch-up contribution, which allows you to contribute a little bit more if you're trying to, like it says, catch up. And that's for the IRA, the catch-up contribution is an extra $1,000. So instead of $6,000, you contribute $7,000. And for the 401k, the extra contribution is $21,000. So you can contribute, $26,000. So you can contribute $26,000 a year versus the $19,500 that you would do if you weren't in the catch-up phase. Now, the catch-up phase takes place when you turn 50 years old. So if you're not 50 years old, then you can't put that money, you can't take advantage of those extra higher limits to the amount of money you can put in. But these are just a couple of things that are really important and why you need to get engaged in both the IRA and the 401k. Like I do both. I have both. My employer sponsor 401k, and I have my own IRAs. But there's also something that's you need to know about. Both of these that I talked about are called traditional IRAs, traditional 401ks. Now we're going to kick it over to Troy, and he's going to tell to you about the Roth version of these, which is another very, very cool and important tool, and something that I personally take advantage of myself.
Thanks, Mike, for that excellent information. Those traditional retirement accounts, like Mike has discussed, allow you to put money away before taxes are taken out. I'm going to be discussing another option to those traditional retirement accounts, which is the Roth Individual Retirement Account, or the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA account pays your taxes up front. Therefore, the money that's in it can grow tax-free over the lifetime that you work. Now, the Roth IRA was created in 1997 underneath the Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997. That act created a number of tax cuts, including the Roth IRA, and it permanently exempted your Roth IRA from capital gains taxes. The name Roth comes from the senator who sponsored the idea, the 30-year Senator William Roth of Delaware. When trying to figure out which tax plan is best for you, always consult with professionals and be sure to understand what specific benefits your job offers. Some jobs might offer the matching for your contribution dollar for dollar if you use a traditional, but not if you do a Roth. So you have to be careful, and you always want to make sure you know the details. So, when comparing for a traditional IRA, you can save a chunk of your money before the taxes are taken out, and a larger amount can grow over time through compound interest. Then after your working career, you typically hope that you're in a lower tax bracket, therefore it's a beneficial transaction overall, and you pay the taxes on your retirement as you withdraw them. Some states even have no state income tax whatsoever, like the great state of Texas here, and some don't tax your retirement income no matter what, whereas they might tax regular income throughout the years. So where you're located, what states you're in, all of these things come together to determine which is the best option for you. Now, Congress has limited those who can contribute to a Roth IRA based on income. A person can contribute a max only if their modified adjusted gross income is below $122,000 for single filers or $189,000 for joint filers, and that's of course as of this video. The amount one can contribute to a Roth IRA gets phased out as your income goes beyond those amounts. These amounts, of course, change each year based on current tax law, so as always, consult with your professionals. As of this video, you can contribute $6,000 as an individual if you are age 49 and below, or $7,000 if you're age 50 and older. A married couple has the same limits per spouse. A quick note, most retirement plans allow for an expanded contribution limit when you get older, known as a catch-up contribution, and that typically happens around age 50, so you want to make sure you know that depending on what plan you're in and who your employer is. Another fun fact, you can also convert your traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. You will pay the taxes on the amount you convert, and then that amount becomes withdrawable and tax-free after 5 years. This is useful to get access to retirement savings early without penalty before you're actually the retirement age. This is called the Roth conversion ladder, in which you begin moving a set amount of money each year from your traditional retirement account into a new Roth account, and that money can be withdrawn 5 years later, tax-free, at any age. There are many who tout this as an excellent way to retire early on a set income, but that is a topic for another video. No matter which type of retirement plan you use, the biggest takeaway here is to make sure that you are in fact paying into a retirement plan. It is important that you begin saving as soon as possible so you can allow the power of compound interest and time to grow your retirement savings. You need to have your own retirement savings, no matter what your pension is, no matter whether you think Social Security will be enough, you need to have a retirement savings. Having a retirement savings and a retirement savings account growing over time can even help you buy a home because it can provide money for your down payment, penalty-free, depending on what kind of account you have. There's also the ability to withdraw money in the event of an unforeseen hardship. Like, for example, this year's pandemic, Congress passed a law in the CARES Act allowing you to withdraw money if you were diagnosed with or impacted with COVID-19. Your retirement savings will also be a part of your estate to be passed on to your beneficiaries in the event that anything happens to you. When combined with sound tax strategy, a traditional IRA can reduce your taxable income providing tax savings now, while the Roth IRA can provide tax savings later. The choice is up to you and your specific situation and your state. And also consider the state that you desire to retire to as well. I want to thank you all for watching another video with us. Please like this video as it helps us rise in the YouTube algorithms. Also, please feel free to share this video across social media. We want to spread the good word out. We want everybody out there should be paying into a retirement account, and everybody out there should be hearing good tips and advice for developing sound financial strategies and portfolio building so that we can all stay financially stable. We now have a Twitter account to go along with our Facebook page. Our Twitter is @real_in_the_black. And we're going to be sharing thoughts and tips on the market and things of that nature for people who are interested. We welcome all questions and comments. Please let us know how you feel about this video, any of our past videos, or if there's other topics out there you would love for us to discuss and do a video about as soon as possible. And finally, please, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to In the Black YouTube channel and check the notification bell so you don't miss a video as we cover various subjects to make sure you always stay in the black.